I want to now give you a little chart here as a comparison of the 3 strategy improvement growth levels. The improvement level, the innovation level, and the exponential levels, right in your workbook. And this first one is, how can I improve my growth from 11 to 24%? This one is from 25 to 99%, and this one is from 100% to 10,000%. How can I do that? There are different methods you use to do each one, and I want to teach those to you. So look at number 2, point number 2, complete each strategy level before moving on to the next more difficult one. The improvement level is the easiest, the innovation is more difficult, and the exponential is very challenging. Point number 3, let me therefore give you some tools, practical tools of what a person can do who wanted to improve their strategy from 11 to 24% in growth. How do you improve your effectiveness and efficiency of the existing strategy? Which means this: what are the steps you take? What is the goal that that series of steps produces? What did I do for that young man? What do you do as a waiter? We wrote on a little pad. He does this and this and this and this and this and this. I knew all of his steps. It's not hard to do. Just ask yourself, what are the steps? First thing you want to do is actually know them. Have them on one piece of paper. Carry them around. If you're a praying person, if you meditate, take out that sheet. Turn it sideways. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It's what I do. Look at it. Pray. God, show me more. How can I improve this? You must sit and look at your strategy. Just pay attention to it. You'll see all kinds of things popping up right before you. So I want to give you some things that I do when I try to improve. Number 1, I eliminate some steps to improve strategy. Just eliminate it. Don't do this anymore. Why do you do this? I don't know. Then stop it. Number 2, combine some steps. Combine some steps. Number 3, delegate some steps to other people. And number 4, outsource some steps to improve your strategy. For instance, on the issue of planting gardens, I got the members of parliament together of one country, and I said, we are here planting gardens at the king's request. The king of Swaziland, when I met with him a number of times, I said to him, what can we do to be of assistance here? We can help with the orphans, we can help with jobs, we can help with food, etc., etc. What would you like? No, it's the food with the orphans. I told them about the gardens. That's what I want. So you would like us to plant gardens in Swaziland? Yes. Do you think it'd be wise for us to work with your Department of Agriculture? Yes, that would be wonderful. And we did. So then when it got around, the members of parliament and the chiefs wanted us, our teams, to come where they are to help their people. So eventually we outsourced it to them, and I met with a bunch of chiefs and I met with members of parliament and said, if you would like our team come plant NTVENG gardens in your region, please let me know, and would you please have a meeting with your constituency, and please have them dig up this size of a garden, and we'll know how to plant it. We outsourced all that work. Saved massive amount of time. We improved it. Number 3.5, we accelerate some steps to improve your strategy. That is, how can you take something that takes 4 days and do it in 1 hour? Because you can. Number 6, automate some steps to improve your strategy. Automate it. So for instance, when we made a deal with the company for the seedlings, we said to them, we would like you to put the seedlings in bags of, I think we started with 100 seedlings in each bag that we can give to each of the volunteers who are helping the people in the homes and the rurals to plant the gardens. And then we came over to another group and we said, we're buying all these waters. Will you put this water in this bag, and will you put this energy bar with the bag here? And then we put the 2 bags together, and when the volunteer came to plant gardens, we gave him 2 bags. It used to take us an hour. Go count out 100 and put it in this bag, and go over there and get the one over here, and then go over there and get condense it. And number 7, leverage some steps to improve your strategy. Make something have a much larger impact. So for instance, I said to one chief in one country, I said to him, we're going to plant gardens according to what you want. Would you like anything else? I would like a chief one. You'd like a chief one? I want a big one. All right. What's on your mind? I'm the chief, and I'm responsible for these orphans. And I don't have enough food to feed these orphans. Would you plant me a very large garden for the orphans? I said, do you have people that will take care of a very large garden? Yes, I have 3. Huge garden, huge. Many orphans taken care of. Go to a school. Do your kids have enough food? No. Would you like a garden? Do your kids want to help garden? Yes, we'll start teaching them how to garden in school because of the garden. Go to a big orphan area. Do you have enough food? No, we don't. Would you like to plant some gardens with us? Oh, that would be wonderful. What is all that? Leverage. We went to Botswana, Namibia. In Botswana, we met with the Department of Agriculture. Are you interested in planting gardens for the people struggling with food? Yes, we are. We have 26 people that plant gardens. Can we partner with you? Can you teach us about this? Can we share some things we have learned with this? We had a big meeting. The whole Department of Agriculture worked all week. And we planted 10 times, altogether, the 2 groups, 10 times more gardens than the whole year before. And they saw whole new methods of doing things. And they showed us secrets that we didn't know that we then used in other countries. Leverage. Leverage. So when you think then about improving things, figure out your steps and then improve them. All right, point number 4, right? Tools for innovation level. This is real pay dirt time. This is where you get to change your strategy, that it changes the results a whole lot. And I want to just give you 7 or 8 key terms. Number 1, problem solve. Problem solve. Wherever you go, wherever you're working, there are some things that irritate your church, or they irritate the people that you work with, or they irritate the customer. The first thing that you should do is ask the question, what irritates people around here? And fix that immediately. In the States, there's a great story about a physician who asked his patients, he wanted to grow his business a lot, what irritates you the most? What irritates us is you tell the appointment's 11 o'clock. We come here at 11 o'clock and you help us at 12:30. We hate it. He came back and he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hire another doctor. And we're going to promise people, you will see your doctor within 10 minutes of your date or it's free. Do you know what happened to his practice? He has 6 doctors. Because he took away the number 1 irritation. He changed his strategy. Number 2, research in order to innovate a better strategy. So whatever you're doing, do you go and research on the internet, in books? I interviewed leaders of the South African Agricultural Department. I interviewed the head of the Agriculture Department of Swaziland, of Botswana. We met with the chairman of U.S. Aid in the United States, the head of the State Department in the United States. I met with them, the head of the PEPFAR Fund in the United States. I met with congressmen, senators. How can we improve this? What can we do more? Met with presidents of countries, asked the same question. It's called research. So what research are you giving? Because the more research you get, the more you'll get an idea and say, man, we could do that. Why don't we do that? So do research. You ought to read much off the internet about this. Next, imagine. 4.3, imagine in order to innovate a better strategy. Imagine. What do I do with that? I actually sit on the back porch of our home with my journal, and I imagine a major goal that I feel God would like reached. And I have no idea how to get there. I'll close my mind and start imagining it. How could this be? What would need to happen? If President Mandela did this, what would he do? If Moses did this, what would he do? If King David was here, how would he do this? Yeah, I do. How would they do this? And I'm imagining it. And when that happens, new ideas will come to you. Next, pray and meditate. Add the word pray and meditate. I ask the Lord a lot for help on strategy. I will ask wisdom to give me ideas. I will seek. Number 5, experiment in order to innovate a better strategy. Let me bring this over to a church for a minute. How often does a church change a lot? Hardly ever. Church begins, follows the same order. It's boring. If you were to research Jesus, like I have, and research him regarding how many times does he use the same strategy with a person over and over again? The answer, he doesn't. He innovates a new strategy every time he helps a person. If you want to be like Christ, your services should be unpredictable. Unpredictable. You never know what Jesus was going to do until he did it. Do you know what causes boredom? Predictability. So why are we predictable? Number 6, prophetize. A very different word. Prophetize in order to innovate a better strategy. That is, how can you earn money from one of your steps? How can you do it? When we were talking about the spur issue, we gave the young man those steps, and then we took 2 different areas, and we said, how can we get you much larger tips? How can they buy a lot more food, and you get a percentage of that? Then those 2 together make 100% more money than you used to be making. That's prophetizing it. So when we were planting gardens, we noticed if we planted the garden with the person, and we taught them how to water it, etc., and then we left them alone, a certain percentage wouldn't do hardly anything. If we had somebody from the neighborhood go around once a week and test the things, talk about overwatering, underwatering, make sure that it was being done correctly, everything went way back up. So we said, we got to fix this. But we can't afford to pay somebody. Stick with me now. We can't afford to pay that person. But we need that person walking around. And there's a lot of guys who are looking for work. So how can we prophetize? Meaning, take a step like inspecting the gardens once a week and earn money from it to pay the person who's doing it so he'll want to do it or she'll want to do it. So my son said to me one day, he's very good at strategy. He basically said, Dad, when we have the little gardens, not the chief's gardens, not the orphan gardens, but the little gardens, and we plant this many plants the first time out, 2 gardens like that in a person's home. If they do well, then we'll plant 4 with them, but we start here. He said, Dad, why don't we say to them that if you, at the end of this season, these 3, you keep 75% of your garden, you keep 75%, and you give us 25%. And if these 3 are good quality, we'll give you all the seedlings and fertilizers for the next planting for free. And the people said, that's great. We get to keep 75%. Yes, that's free. So then they got these 3 spinaches for 200 gardens. That's 200 gardens times 3 heads of spinach. That's 600 heads of spinach. And we sold it to some of the stores or on the stands, and guess how much money we made? A lot of money. What did we do? We innovated. We took a step that nobody would have thought of because we asked the right question. How can we make money to pay for the person to look at it so the gardens are successful? We don't have any money for that. Okay, let's profitize it. Let's find a step that you can make money from it. This was it. We tested it with the people. They said yes. And this more than paid for the person who was working. Profitize. And number 7, incentivize in order to innovate a better strategy. Incentivize. Did Jesus incentivize? Yes, he did. He offered rewards for certain kind of activity. And number 8, recycle in order to innovate a better strategy. What does that mean? It means go back over your strategy over and over again, thinking, how can we do this? For instance, you remember the prophecy given by Jesus in his sermon on the Mount of Olives regarding the future of his second coming. And he says, this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached to all nations, then he shall come, the end shall come, the second coming shall happen. Well, for the past 2,000 years, Christ's second coming, not his rapture, Christ's second coming couldn't occur. Do you know why? There were many groups of nationalities that have never heard of Jesus. None of them were born again. They never heard the gospel of the kingdom. And Jesus said, all of the ethnic groups of the world must hear the gospel before I can come back again. And that hasn't been true. Do you realize that? It's not been true. As of 2000, there's a group of people that have identified all of the groups that are left. And they have formed a movement in the world, 5 major movements, and they are taking major events around the world, all over the world, getting all the Christian leaders together and saying, how many of these unreached people groups will you take responsibility for to bring the gospel, to plant a church, to help translate the Bible? And I said to him, now that you've been doing this since the whole movement, since 2000, how many churches have been committed to be planted? He said 7 million new churches. I said to him, how are they doing planting the churches? He said, we have one church that's planted 20,000 churches now. One church in 5 years' time. Guess what's happening? Put this together. New strategies. Where did the strategies come from? Let's finish the task. New goal. Not let's plant churches. Let's plant churches everywhere and get it done in our lifetime. New goal. New goal requires new strategies. This strategy is now to plant 1 million new churches here and there. It's just shocking. It's a new strategy. It's because we as a church didn't come along and say, let's do what Jesus said, now, finish it. And because we didn't finish it, things have languished. Can I then just read for you the last part? Because we could spend all day on this, couldn't we? We could take any church in the room, and in 2 hours, you would know what to do to double your church, and if you did it, you would double your church. For sure. Point number 5. What are some tools for the exponential level to grow 100% to 10,000%? How do you get outside the box that you're in and leap over all competition with stunning performance? Believe it or not, it's with questions. Questions are the lever that opens your thinking to the right strategy. Like, how can you grow your annual business result by 10 times this year? Because you can. How can you double your annual revenue? How can you cut costs by a minimum of 50%? Louis Bloom and I have spent hours talking about how can we innovate a new strategy to plant 100,000 churches? Because we can. So can you. But you can't with the current strategy. You have to innovate. Number 4, how can you double the net profit of your company? How can you double the average revenue per employee? That is, you divide your total revenue of your company by the number of people working for you, and you'd figure out how much revenue each person is earning for your company. Number 6, how can you double each customer's average purchase? And how can you triple the number of total customers? When Rick had the circus and got 3,000 visitors and 1,000 people who stayed, he did it in one day. Let me close with this illustration. The never-ending gardens happened when we lived here. And I was sharing some of this information with a person, and they said, "Tell me what you've been doing now. Is it still exponential?" I think that's a valid question to have been asked. And I close this with just a personal story and its response, because I don't want you thinking that I'm saying these things and just maybe once in a lifetime they happen. Remember, it's the law that when you drop it, it goes down as many times as you want to drop it. You must understand that's the truth. So in 2009, I just wrote it before I flew here. In 2009, I had a couple Christian organizations who said to me, "Will you help us? Will you come speak to our board of directors? And will you come speak at our annual banquet, which we raise our money for the year?" I'm not really a fundraising person, but I said, "Okay, I'll come help you." That year, we raised $522,465 for them. Didn't come to me, and it wasn't my people, it was their people. At the end of that year, I was talking with my key person, Jill Milligan, and I said, "Jill, we're getting a lot of calls. These people have called their friends, and now they're calling us. Do we want to do this?" And I talked with my wife quite a bit, and we said, "Well, let's do this more often, and let's work on our strategy some more." So we did. We changed our strategy, and we spoke more frequently. In 2010, it went from 522,000 US dollars, which is 5 million rand, to 16 million American dollars, 837,704, or 168 million rand. We changed our strategy. And then we began to pray more and more and ask the question, "Lord, is this really what you want us to be doing?" Yes. Okay then. So, strategy. I'm not a fundraiser. I'm a Bible teacher and a leader. But there's goals, there's strategies, and I can improve the strategy, I can innovate the strategy, and I can go all the way to exponential strategy. So we applied that to here. And in 2011, we raised 43,686,261. That's 436 million rand in a year. This wasn't the same strategy as this. The point of this is to answer that question and make a point to you. One person, with my staff organizing it, strategy changed. And in 2011, at the end, we got our little team together and we asked the question, what does God want done about this? And we set a goal to raise 100 million, which is 1 billion rand. And as soon as that goal, we set it in here, as soon as that goal was established, we all realized, I can't do that. We have to bring in other people that I can train that will go do this. So the strategy completely changed. And we went out and we hired different people across the country. None of them were fundraising people. All of them hated to fundraise. like you probably do. And I had studied the Bible until I knew what's God's secret of fundraising. That's why this happened. God has a protocol of everything. Protocol means how he does something. And I studied the Bible to find out what's God's method to raise money. And I found it. And then I copied it. And that's what happened. And so we began to train people. And in 2012, it went to 57,656,637, which is 576 million rand. All this together is well over R1 billion. My point is to keep on affirming that this has all the wisdoms and the methods you need. Find them. We found the method of how God raises money, and then we did it. Then we increased the size of our goal, and it went beyond our current strategy. We now have 12 teachers that go do this. And guess how many banquets and events I'm doing this year? 4. That's all. All the other people are doing them because I'm here with you. I stopped doing this for you. Because God's call, no, I don't mean that. No, I didn't mean that. It means when God calls you, you change. So when you think about then, why isn't your business growing? The answer is your gut isn't really after it. You don't realize that eternity is affected by it. Or number 2, your goal is so little it doesn't require brilliance from you. It doesn't. Or you just haven't changed your strategy. You don't know what it is, you haven't improved it, you haven't innovated it, and you haven't made it exponential. But do you have clarity now?